Hi, I'm Morven, and today on Not Serious Wine Chats, Pete, John and I chat away to Rosie Finn of Neudorf Vineyards. Neudorf was started by Judy and Tim Finn in the 1970s. Like almost all of our wine pioneers, that meant a mortgage or two and a lot of fast learning. Fast forward to 2023 and their daughter Rosie, now a mother herself to a wee lad called Freddie, has stepped into the family biz as her folks step out to enjoy their retirement. Rosie knows how to spin a yarn, and in this chat she shares one of the best stories I've heard of pairing wine with food. It combines one wine and the cuisine of a Copenhagen-based Michelin-star restaurant and a night dive in an underwater cave set beneath Tāmaki Hill in the Kahurangi National Park. During our chat, we had the pleasure of indulging in a sneak peek at the soon-to-be-released 2022 Neudorf Rosie's Block Amphora Chardonnay. To say the wine was delicious is an understatement. While we crushed a cup, Rosie chatted away about how a Facebook post from Jude landed her a job with the wonderful wine ambassador Mel Brown at Pot Brixton in London. And after what looked like a few years of nothing but fun, Rosie reluctantly had to leave, unable to secure a visa extension. She returned home to Aotearoa and suffered that common culture shock most of us Kiwis feel after a few years of cutting loose in Blighty. She dried her teary eyes and took firm hold of the torch from Judy and Tim as the next generation to drive this incredible family business. This was a chat that flowed from the moment we sat down. So pour yourself a comfy spot, close your eyes and imagine you're parked up beachside somewhere in the able Tasman. The sun is shining and there's a Neudorf Chardonnay in your wine glass. This is the Not Serious Rosie Finn chat. Rosie, I'd just like to welcome you to the Coco Sound Lounge.
Loving this.
Excellent. It's been a real privilege actually, and total Coco style to look after their community. So they've been kind enough to give us this venue for nothing. So we always have to give those guys a pretty good shout.
Yay, Coco, we love you.
Totally. So anyway, welcome to Not Serious Wine Chats, Rosie Finn from Neudorf Vineyards.
Thank you so much. It's awesome to be here with this gorgeous sea beach views behind you.
Yes, and I actually, it's a beautiful, colourful mural on the wall at the upstairs dining room at Coco's Cantina, and I actually don't know who's done it, but it changes a bit up here.
Yeah,
I
definitely don't feel like I'm on K Road.
Well, we were talking to Nick last.
Yeah, we were.
Which was a while ago. There's been it's been a few weeks between not serious dates.
Yeah.
It's because it's complete volunteer. Like, this is all just when we can, like, sort of, and with the boys and Ash setting up their brand new store on Mount Eden Road.
Very much.
By the bottle. Plug. Drive,
Thank
drink.
Love it.
Don't drink and drive, but drive to the venue, buy the bottle,
get
drink at home.
to buy the bottle ASAP. Thank you.
That's right. So everyone's been a wee bit busy. But, so there's been a wee bit of a gap between chats, but it's sort of one of those things that, who cares?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, we're not all in Auckland.
No, well, that's
so
the
we had
thing.
to wait until the next Auckland travel.
Yeah.
And so
we needed you here to do this.
Yeah.
Indeed. It does help.
That's right. The volunteer budget doesn't extend to trips to Blenheim.
Nelson,
sorry, doll. God, I'm really on fire this morning, aren't I?
Come on.
Okay, listeners, it's definitely Neudorf Vineyards and it's definitely in Nelson. So when you're planning your holiday to the Marlborough stretch of the country, that's where you need to head over the hill to Nelson.
You got to get over the hill.
That's right. So you're actually up here for Euro Vintage Roadshow, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've got Rody in Auckland Savo and then down to Wellington to do that leg tomorrow. And
nice.
Todd's tapping in and doing Christchurch.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And is that, that's trade only or do they do consumers?
Trade only.
Oh, yeah. And just every year those guys have been busting it out.
We actually haven't done one since pre-COVID.
Oh, so this is the first out of the gate?
Yeah.
Oh,
so I've kind of got to get my head back in the game for, the roadie vibes, which are a whole different thing to tasting with soms in restaurants.
In what sense?
I think probably just more it's constant, it's 6 hours, right? Of, just being on.
The chat.
And also I know a lot of soms when I'm up here, I'm going to see people like you guys. I walk in, I'm like, g'day, it's so good to see you. Hugs, kisses, and then sometimes you just got to stand there and be like, oh, hi, I'm Rosie, I'm from Neudorf. You got to start from point A as opposed to jumping off from, halfway down the alphabet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of, should we get you back in practice? Shall we pour some of the wine that you've bought today?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sort of jigging things around a little bit.
Okay.
I figured that for the last few chats, I've realised that we get about an hour into the chat and then we start talking about the wine that we've already actually been drinking.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I thought let's mix it up a little bit and actually kick off with an intro about the wine. So then we can you can explain what we're drinking and why we're drinking it, and then we'll graduate into all the other crap that's going on in your life.
Excellent. Love
How does that sound?
We'll just do a sexy little mic crack.
Do it. Oh, yeah. Damn, that screw cap's romantic.
It's so much better than a cork, right?
yeah, totally.
Are we feeling that?
Yeah.
Right, what do we got, Rosie?
We have the yet-to-be-released Rosie's Block Amphora Chardonnay from Neudorf. So this comes out in October. So I thought I would do something a little bit interesting because you guys haven't tasted this.
Amazing.
And it's a wine that it's such an interesting wine. It's a great wine for this kind of event, chat. Because it's got a little bit of something different. Chardonnay is like Neudorf's thing. Yeah, totally. And this is a really awesome exploration into why. So we originally we knew what our Chardonnay tasted like off our soils that goes into its sort of 10 to 15% new oak, and we really love that, obviously, things like Rosie's Block Moucherie and the Home Block Chardonnay. But we sort of wanted to give the soils a run for their money and see what they did with nothing else, but nude. So for a few years we did this Chardonnay just straight into stainless and loved that super oyster shell minerality, and then we kind of got our heads around that, and Todd dabbled and bought one amphora, and we did a portion. So for about 3 years, or maybe 2 years, there was a a portion of amphora going into another Chardonnay. And every time we put that portion in, we were like, damn, don't lose the portion, And so then, but we also had to get enough amphora to make something, of value, or enough,
enough to get it out there,
to be able to sell.
Yeah.
So we bought another couple, and so now I think this is the third iteration of it being 100% amphora ferment, and we love it. So it's actually a really interesting wine,
isn't it?
Yeah.
To taste next to.
I'm actually struggling to find the words. It's sort of silky and smooth, but it's got. It's really delicious. The amphora thing, hit me?
What's all that about?
Yeah, what's that all about?
What's happening?
Yeah, tell me about amphora. Well, originally, so we're on clays, famously. It's where our Neudorf yellow comes from. Is inspired by the clay that we chose to plant on 45 years ago, and so it sort of made sense for us to look at what the wine. People have been making wine in clay for thousands of years.
Yeah.
We wanted to make an amphora from our Moucherie clay soils.
Yeah, amazing.
But there isn't a kiln in Nelson big enough to set them.
Yeah.
So we're looking, there's a guy...
that's a really cool idea.
Yeah, so that you grow the wine in the clay and then ferment it through. That's, such a good exploration, I suppose.
Yeah.
So we're sort of working towards that, but we just got to get the kiln. And none of us are potters. We're far better winemakers.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where the inspiration came from. And with one amphora, and like I say, we just always loved that portion. And it's a great, it tastes brilliantly next to Rosie's Block Moucherie. So we pick those, it's the same piece of dirt. We pick it on the same day. It actually gets picked and just straight into tank. And then we put 2/3 to barrel and 1/3 to amphora. Mm-hmm. So when you taste them next to each other, they're super different wines. You can't believe that they're same fruit picked same day, treated, it's purely a wine.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah,
because
I should have brought them both up, but
oh well, next time.
Next time.
But it would be really interesting because it feels like the sort of the complexity of it and the structure of it it's got that sort of oak expression, but without sort of being sort of overbearing on the palate. But obviously to have that amphora, it continues some of those textural sort of components that you might expect from oak, but in a more softer. I mean, what's if you could explain the difference between that sort of oak,
totally,
and amphora?
I think the amphora naturally lends itself to that minerality. It's just got that oyster shell, epicness that you get out of not putting any makeup on.
Yeah.
But there's something really lovely about the Rosie's Moucherie in that very classic, you taste it and you're just immediately at Neudorf to me. It's a real time capsule. But the two of them next to each other, we did a wine dinner last week actually, and we had both of them next to each other with a really beautiful, like quite chili infused ceviche, like tuna ceviche, and they tasted so different with that style of food, but like equally right. And I don't know, it's a awesome expression of sight and winemaker, and like it's, winemakers are scientists, and scientists like to explore, and so you can't just make the same thing every year over and over again for 45 years. Yeah. So Todd has So Todd's our winemaker, and he is so I think he really I hope he really likes making wine where he does, and he's been there for a while, hasn't he? Yeah, 22's his 10th vintage.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Yeah. So that's kind of exciting. So we're just about to release the 22 Chardonnays, which is Todd's 10th iteration, which is just awesome.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and so he's a natural, always learning, and he's a creative scientist, those, how winemakers are. So I think that you're never going to get the same thing twice.
No. Yeah, and the fact that he's got the ability to explore working for you guys is amazing, isn't it?
I think Tim, Jude and I trust Todd implicitly. Yeah. He's also our GM. He became our GM about 3 years ago. So
so he's part of the whānau.
Intrinsic. Yeah, very much so.
And when we first met, I actually think I first met you through Mel Brown and the iteration of her projects in the UK, right? So I think we were getting on it with one of those conferences down in Blenheim, somewhere in a marquee in a paddock, dancing after
sounds
drinking
like Mel and I.
a wee bit too much. I think you guys might have been in sequins.
Probably, yes.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that's right.
Mel rocks sequins.
Yeah. We've
she loves a get up.
We love a little bit of sparkle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, do you want to hit us up a little bit about what's been your pathway? Because obviously, winemaking parents has been all you've known, right? So when did Neudorf actually start?
So Tim and Jude planted Neudorf. Only child syndrome, call them Tim and Jude. That's mum and dad.
Yes,
we'll just get that out on the table, right? Because I'm not going to call them mum and dad, and it'll get confusing.
Yeah, totally.
Tim and Jude planted Neudorf in 78. They were both kind of from that like late 60s back to the land movement. They wanted to work for themselves. There was really independent kind of headspace, I suppose. Dad had originally studied ag sci, and he was doing his master at Ruakura, which was where there was sort of an introduction to viticulture was being brought in by the government. Yeah. So he got introduced to the wine industry kind of through that. Thank goodness, I say, because I don't think I'd make a very good sheep farmer. Sure. Like, just a really great career tact change from Tim there. So he went back and did V&O, and then he knew what he wanted. He wanted north-facing clay, even climate, blah, blah, blah. So they found, neither of them are even from the South Island. They just...
Had they done wine? Had they worked anywhere
Yeah, Dad had done a few vintages. But I think also from an ag sci background, there was, viticulture's agriculture, and it's just part of that cycle. So he knew what he wanted, and once the vineyard was sort of set up and underway, he started to do more vintages. So he did a vintage in Champagne and Burgundy, and went abroad at that point because you have to wait a while for the vines to grow.
No, that's right. It's all about time, isn't it, with the old vineyard management.
So they were actually living in Wellington after they'd planted Neudorf. That's where their jobs were at the time, waiting for that to kind of kick off.
Yeah, they're like every cracking sort of first generation Kiwi, winery story, right? Where they're actually, it's like the professional, it's like the rugby players. It's like Sean Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
They had a bloody day job.
Oh, it's just outrageous.
They weren't ripping it up, being pros, driving flash cars and getting paid for it.
They had 6 mortgages.
Yeah.
On this piece of dirt.
That's crazy.
And my grandfather, Jude's dad, who was a relatively well-to-do surgeon from Taranaki, apparently had tears in his eyes when he saw it. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, no, that's right. Everyone thinks they're crazy.
Now I look at them and I'm like, what did you do? How did you look at this bare piece of land 45 minutes out of Nelson in the late 70s and go, that's what we're doing?
Yeah. And was there much else planted?
Zyfrieds was planted.
Right.
So that was, and they were originally up on the Motiri Hills with us. They then moved to the plains in the 90s. But so Herman and Agnes planted in 73, and then Tim and Jude planted in 78. So it was, Yeah, and this was sort of like, pre-Marlborough boom. Someone pointed out to me the other day there wasn't a vineyard in Central Otago when Tim and Jude started.
Wow. No, there won't have been.
So, that's crazy. Just the headspace of that.
I think Ripon started in 74. Was that right from Nick's chat?
That was
74.
About right.
Yeah, right. So, start of stuff. And anyway, I grew up on the farm. They started, things started going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. So their first vintage was
planted
in 78. First vintage was 81. And so by then they were living on the farm full time.
And sorry, you might have already said this. So what did they plant? Because obviously the Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc as we know it today, I mean, the thing about New Zealand wine is it's all been about, I think this will grow here.
Yeah,
let's
100%.
just plant whatever we can plant and see what works. So what did they plant?
Also just whatever we can get our hands on.
No, that's
the
right.
The industry is so young. There's not now you can say, I want some Alagotti or something, and it'll be there. Whereas at the time, it was all government they were the ones bringing in the baby vines anyway.
Yeah.
So there were a few trials and errors, and like you say, you didn't have a neighbour next door who was just nailing Sav. So you're like, right, we're just going to do Sav, or we're going to do Chardonnay, or
There was no frame of reference to sort of go,
reference.
this works here.
Yeah, so there was a few things which I think, Jude will probably point out that I shouldn't have mentioned if I mention them. A couple of big reds that went in at the top of the south.
Yeah.
We had a 1981 Neudorf Cabernet Sauvignon.
Wow.
As we should have done, it was all experimental.
Right.
So I own it. So I think in the first run there was a bit of Cabernet Sauvignon. There was certainly Chardonnay because our home block Chardonnay is still made from those original vines. Riesling, naturally there was Müller-Thurgau. It was the 70s.
It was handed out like candy.
Totally.
Yeah, there was a bit of Semillon. There was Gewürz. I think Gewürz is probably the wine that Jude, if she had her time again, she wouldn't pull that out.
Yeah.
I think everything, naturally Chardonnay and Riesling stayed, but Gewürz, Jude sort of is she does this quite little romantic reminisce about that. And
beautiful dry
beautiful
sort of aromatics.
Exactly.
And
I
all,
think
all your other aromatics are so beautiful.
Yeah. And I think there was probably a trend towards sweeter Gewürz. I can see how they got to the point of taking it out, but I can see Jude now looking back and going, oh, actually, maybe if we'd stuck to our own.
And maybe that's a level of confidence too, right? As you're sort of following the trend of the market. And also with 6 mortgages, you're probably going, what the fuck sells?
What sells, right? And that's
People
and
can't
New Zealanders have got their head around saying Gewürz now. But we made a Viognier for a few years. Absolute disaster in terms of selling it. It wasn't our fruit. It was a friend down the road, and he was, I think it was a lifestyle block. And we sort of said, much like we're talking about with the, scientists are looking for an experiment. Yeah, that'll be interesting. We haven't made a Viognier before.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful drink.
Yeah.
But you can't sell Viognier.
Yeah.
And so, there's lots of things. So they originally had a, huge run of varietals.
Yeah.
And then, so Pinot joined the fold about 5 years on. So, so the oldest vines on the home block now are still Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And they'll be, delicious.
Yeah,
Clearly.
Home block Chardonnay, we did our 40th, 21 was our 40th release of that wine, which it's pretty special.
Yeah, that is incredible. Yeah,
same vines, same, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that for this country that we've, got those wines coming up with that amount of vine age.
Yeah, it was, it's a shame that 21 was so little because we didn't have a lot of it.
Yeah.
We probably had similar quantities to the early days.
That's been the last few vintages, has it? Has it been?
23 has come back.
Oh, good.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, good.
23 we're quite, got a bit of wine in.
How did you guys go through COVID? Because obviously managing teams and keeping everybody kind of isolated in their bubbles.
Weird, really. And I know everyone says that, but I grew up, my family home is on the farm, and I wasn't allowed to go. We were, my partner and I, we dropped things off. What was it? When you were
within your bubble kind of?
No, not to the bubble, but just we would go to the supermarket for Tim and Jude so that they didn't have to go to the supermarket.
So you weren't even allowed to go
so it wasn't allowed up. So we would put things at the bottom of the steps, and Dad would come down and pick them up, and it was really... and then of course, so Tim and Jude, who have done 45 or 40 odd vintages at Neudorf, Tim couldn't go like past the threshold into the winery because the winery was a bubble and the vineyard was a bubble and the house was a bubble.
Yeah.
And like, I think that was a really weird experience for them living on site and seeing tractors go back and forth. But when COVID was announced and there was that like within 48 hours, you know,
we're
the
shutting
doors,
down.
you know, we're pulling up the drawbridge. The wine industry was mid-March, right? So like, stuff's happening across the country, and the wine industry wasn't like told initially that it was primary industry. So the first thing we did the next day was everyone went out and picked Moutry Chardonnay. Like it was good to go, but it was like, if we're going to make one wine this year and we're going to be told that nobody's on site tomorrow, we're making Moutry Chardonnay.
Amazing.
So that came in. And then
so did you have a picking team already kind of lined up, did you?
We'd just kicked off. So we had a crew, and we actually. So we got the Chardonnay in, and then it was that night that wine growers announced that we were part of the primary industry and we could go under these like intensive restrictions.
That was so full ball, wasn't it? That
so
like 24 hours of just huge, like industry nationwide. Just what the actual? What do you mean? We're right on the cusp of harvest, and we could lose it all.
Totally.
Leave it on the
and
vines.
the bubbles were like, you know, it was just
sad.
awful. Like Todd was like, you know, do I need to stay away from the family for 6 weeks? You know, like, do I live on site? And it was a really weird experience. We had these, but because, you know, his bubble became like, that was fine because he would go home to his bubble. And
that's right.
But we had these Czech people who camped at the back of Neudorf. They were in the picking crew, and they stayed on site for 6 weeks. And they would like bake bread and leave it out for mum and dad. And like it was really, and Tim and Jude would like go and take a bottle of wine down to them, and like it was really cute. But I was probably the most like removed because I lived in town, and so we'd go out, and occasionally I could tell that, you know, I'd get sent a list from Jude to go to the supermarket with, and I was like, well, I don't know like how much of this is vital, but you probably need the social interaction from the bottom of the stairs. Like, are you good up there?
That's right.
But we so it was a strange, and I've always like, I used to come home from uni for vintage because it was always over like Easter holidays and stuff. It's, apart from living overseas, it's very weird to be like in the region but having like zilch to do with it.
Because it's such a good buzz.
It's such a good buzz. It's the best time of year.
Yeah.
And it's a celebration. We were talking the other day about how, like, you know, the best parts of vintage are that you like sit down and have a beer at the end of the day. And the boys couldn't do that. And like even the vineyard crew couldn't like interact with the winery crew, and that's a really important part of the culture.
I remember dinners halfway through, you know, like your shift was just so bloody fun.
And you're
lifesaver.
And you're knackered. It's tiring. It's on for 24/7 for a couple of weeks, which is sort of humanly crazy.
It is. You need that morale boost from being around, from a community, don't you?
Totally.
That's right. That's right.
So that was an odd one.
So did you study? Have you kind of just inherited the learnings from the whānau sort of biz, or have you actually officially studied? Like again, going back to when I sort of first came across you, you know, you were peddling everyone else's booze over in London.
Isn't that what New Zealanders do so well though? Like talk about other people's products.
No, that's
like,
right.
That's just so banging. Like, oh my God, do you like Riesling? You have to try that. I studied design and photography at Massey in Wellington, and I loved my degree. Like, I just had the best time. And just being a Kiwi who, like, you know, the flightless bird, the day that I graduated, Tim and Jude flew up for graduation because I said to them very clearly, if you ever want to see me in a graduation gown, this is your one. Like, I loved it. I ain't doing it again. You want the photo of me in the black thing with the hat? Yeah. Today's your day.
The mortarboard.
So they flew up to Wellington and came to grad, and then they flew back to Nelson. I took off the graduation gown and flew to London on a one-way ticket.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Straight out of the gate.
Just,
Was any plans?
No.
Strong.
Like, really. And
is that true to form?
Beautifully confident. I was 20 years old. I was, I don't think maybe I was 21. I was little. And no money, no job.
See you later, New Zealand.
Like peace out. And my mother, who is I think because when they bought Neudorf, they were about to embark on a massive like OE experience, and Neudorf came up for sale. So they made the like adult decision to not do that travel and to plant Neudorf and like be grown-ups. And so when I said I wanted to move to the UK, they were like, yeah, 100%. Like, go and live that, you know?
Yeah.
So they were all about it. And to the point that I was like, man, you are like, do you want me gone? Like very, very into this.
Encouragement seems very precise and sort of 100%, determined.
Yeah, and like, right, like I've been on the phone to one of my mates being like, look, I think I've got to go. Like I'm just, really want an adventure. And he was like, I think you should just do it. And I was with my glass of Chardonnay, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing it. Yeah. I'm buying a ticket. And I came downstairs and I said to Jude, I was like, I've just bought one-way ticket to London. And Jude was like, awesome. I was like, okay. Interesting
tears.
And then anyway, so she was cool, calm and collected the whole time. And then like, I think I was on the flight, like I might have been in transit to Auckland, and I landed and there was this Facebook post, because this was the mid 2000s or teens or something, I don't know. And the Facebook post was from Jude, and it was like, oh my God, Rosie's moving to London and she doesn't have any money or a job or like career prospects. And
wow, she really picked you up, eh?
Really picked me up. And like, but she really likes food and wine and coffee and fashion and art. And like, if I know anybody in London, can somebody please have a coffee with this gal?
She put out the signal.
Like she put out the bat signal. And
what'd you land?
Oh, I was mortified. Like I knew her passwords. I jumped in and I edited it because we can't be having that in the public sphere. Like rude. Anyway.
Yeah, that is really great.
But you know what? I landed Mel Brown.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Mel Brown saw the
boy,
post.
do you owe Jude some serious.
I owe Jude in a big way. Yeah. So. Mel was at Prov's at the time. She was just about to open the New Zealand cellar.
That's Providor's restaurant.
Yep. PG.
Yep.
Peter Gordon.
Yep.
And so Jude had been in the UK probably 6 months prior, and I think Mel had been at a tasting. So somehow they'd like connected on Facebook. It was through work.
Yeah.
And Mel saw this post and was like, yeah, like I'll have a coffee with her. That's fine. And I walked in to Prov's and we had a coffee together, and that lasted about 4 hours, and we just talked at each other. And she was like, I can't give you a job, but I know these guys, Vineyards in London. Yeah. So Brett,
I
was going to say.
Yeah. So there you go. So Brett Wooten, who's a Kiwi, and so Mel had done a stint with them, and she was, I think, in ops. And so she rang Brett, was like, do you have any work going? He said, yeah. And so I went and I worked on the floor at Marylebone Vinteca for 3 months, and I loved it.
I worked at Marylebone in Soho.
Oh, wicked. Yeah. So, yeah,
they're the coolest guys.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah. Brett and Charlie are just awesome. And I loved working for them. But I was working, I could have, hospitality, it was like late nights, and I was like, I'm not really like getting, like I could be doing this in Auckland in a like sense,
totally.
So Mel knew that I was like I was doing about 1 day a week with her, kind of helping social media stuff. And I think she knew that if I got a full-time job somewhere else, was like, yeah, all right, you're coming with me.
Yeah.
And parts of it were like, I helped with Isla. I picked Isla up from school, and the other parts of it I did social media for her. Yeah, Mel's daughter. And we just became absolutely inseparable. And she is one of my bridesmaids. She's flying back for the wedding.
Amazing.
Oh, you're getting married.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And she's just a sister now.
Yeah.
And she was, between her and Jude, they would have been like the career-changing woman in my life.
Yeah.
I remember the day. So I did my major in photography, and then I did my thesis in fashion, like studio work. And I remember the day that I bought Decanter magazine instead of Vogue.
Holy shit!
I know.
That's a pretty serious. You've crossed that
I
line.
crossed the line, and I rang Mel, and I was like, I blame you for this. Like,
did you start taking photos of bottles?
Oh, yeah.
I hate taking a racist game.
Yeah, 100%. I hate taking photos of bottles. It's so much harder than models. Like, people think models are difficult to work with. Oh, my God. Glass is something else.
It's also, there's a sort of a construct around how well a bottle will perform when you're trying to do something that looks a bit unique or different. But bloody, it can be quite tedious to try and get
drives
them.
me.
Yeah.
So fragile. They require so much ego stroking. But so Mel was like intrinsic to my career. Yeah, for sure.
And so because just remind me the name of the container in Brixton.
Pop.
Yeah, and so setting that up, when did she actually kick that off? Because
so I helped her. She ran a crowdfunder.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and so I was working for her full time at that point. Yeah, and then I ended up managing the bar for about a year. Yeah, and then I just literally hours on the phone to the Home Office crying about why I deserved to have a visa extension and could not get one for love nor money. And so I got real dramatic. I was like, I thought my grandfather put his life on the line for the crown. You're sending me back to the colonies.
We've got another one.
Yeah, that's right. These fucking Kiwis, man. They're so determined to stay here.
Let's go home already.
I know. And so the time,
you did look like you were having a lot of fun, I have to say.
Oh, we just had the best time, And I remember, Mel rang and we had immigration lawyers and everything. We just couldn't twist it. Yeah. And so it was really hard to leave London.
See, do you know what? If I'd been in New Zealand Wine Growers, I would have, if I was running that New Zealand Wine Growers, I would have I'm going to buy into this business, and we need to have one of our New Zealand representatives on the grounds, and that representative is Rosie Finn. So can we just adjust the paperwork? I would have done that.
I love that. Thank you.
Well, but the way you guys peddled New Zealand wine for a very long time there, no one else gave it the voice that you did.
So much for New Zealand wine.
For New Zealand wine. Absolutely.
Down.
And I was really privileged to be a part of that. And I loved that I got to, Ed Donaldson and Helen Masters and everyone would come, Nick and Joe Mills. And I was talking to people that I knew from growing up and I just love. And the industry is such an amazing collaboration that it was really tough to say. I bawled my eyes out flying out of Heathrow.
Oh, Rosie.
But Mel and I kind of look back now and it's actually, and I hate this, but it was actually probably the right. I'm not going to say everything happens for a reason because that's a shitty thing to say.
Yeah.
But it was one of those I think
looking back, the moment was right.
Yeah. I probably would have happily done another 5 years and come home.
Yeah.
But I came home.
Yeah.
Not everything fell apart. I had this meltdown to Jude one day. I was like, I can't believe I'm not going to be able to get Guatemalan goat curry at 3 a.m. Jude was like, when have you done that? I was like, I haven't, but I loved knowing that I could.
It was there, the option.
Who doesn't have that, Jude? So I was very dramatic, about I was having an existential crisis about this.
Yeah, that does not exist in Nelson.
No, 100%. I mean, I don't even know if you can get Guatemalan goat curry at 3 a.m. in London. To be honest,
I have had goat curry at 3 a.m. in London.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there's a little joint in Notting Hill.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I couldn't say it was Guatemalan. I don't know where it was from, but I don't know where I was.
So you were right to feel ripped off.
I think so. Yeah, justified, definitely.
Totally.
And I moved home, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was probably going to come up here, or maybe go to Australia or something. And I ended up working the summer at Neudorf because, unlike so many people who seem to come back from London with money, I came back in huge debt.
Yeah.
I lived a very good life in London.
Yeah.
One of my best friends lives in London at the moment, and she's there to set up her life here. She will come back and buy a house, and I was like, oh, that's not really hard. Can I introduce you to all of these bars? I know the Soms first names.
Yeah.
Because I spent all of my money.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll stay in Nelson for the summer, and worked at Neudorf and the Salador and just kind of built. I think I owed Tim and Jude a bit of cash, so I was like, well, you can take 50% of the paycheck for as long as it takes to pay this off. And then Jude was, I said, look, I'm here, I'm gonna take over social media, because she was doing it, and I was like, look, that's kind of fun, I'll do that.
Totally.
So I did that, and then she was like, oh, well, there's this work trip coming up, do you want to go to Auckland and do a sales trip? I was like, oh no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I'd like done a little bit of Neudorf sales in London, but not really, like hadn't, worn the hat, so to speak. And she was like, no, I think you'd be great. So I did a couple.
She was right.
Well, I mean, mothers say.
Yeah.
And so I did a couple in New Zealand, and then I did a little bit. And then Jude was like, I think you've got this. I'm going to retire. And I turned around and said, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, look, if you want the job, it's yours. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And here we are. That was a very long-winded way of explaining that, no, I have no formal education in the wine industry.
Oh, I forgot that. That was a question I asked.
It was, yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of, that sort of follows directly in parallel with how the New Zealand wine industry probably is set up.
It probably does. And I would argue that Mel Brown offers a formal education in wine.
Yeah.
She was like, and actually the guys at Vinoteca as well, one of the things that blew me away was being in an environment that the wine list was like 350, 400 bottles. 4 of those were from New Zealand. Yeah. So I didn't have a clue, right? Like I had been brought up around, I knew New Zealand wine, but I was 20 and like fresh out of uni where I wasn't investing in quality product. I'm honest. Like, and so then I got to London and Brett and Charlie would come in every day before shift and be like, taste this, tell me what you think about it, give me a tasting note. And you had to sort of, and so I learnt so much and like so quickly. And that's and Mel was the same. She took me to every wine tasting she was invited to. Like, that's epic because there's a wine tasting every day.
The exposure over there is just unreal. It's just so...
The proximity to that, the legacy of Europe is something else, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I first became a rep at Negotiants, I was quite similar to you actually, and my knowledge was very New Zealand Australian. And, Montepulciano and Montalcino, what, they're different? They're different. What are they? So what is one a wine or one a village or what's going on? I had no idea. And also, but then at the same time, we were selling Schloss Vollrads from Germany, which, was established in 1278
one of the oldest
or
in
something.
Germany, isn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And just kind of, I remember just having a moment where I was like, God, have I read that right? Like sort of that naive, actually. How the fuck I got the job, I've got no idea. But, that naive going, man, and I think sort of, when you actually do get that kind of close proximity to that and exposure to that, and also too, like you're working in London, yes, but the English have had that exposure, so the customer's very different. They're across all of that stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. And also those restaurants are very like neighborhood, like Marylebone in particular, and so you're dealing with regulars, so you can't pour them this, you can't like get to know one wine and be like, right, this I'm going to sell so much of this because this is going to be me, because it's the same guys 3 nights a week, so you can't sell them the same product. You have to be all over it. But the turning point wine for me, like my light bulb of like, man, this is a huge world that I know so little about, was Hungarian bull's blood wine, which is made from like 17 varietals, and like it's like drinking like tar, like it's so big and it's so black in the glass, and it's like epic with steak. Like it's an awesome wine, and you can see, like I can understand how that comes from Hungary. I think it's 17 varietals, but those like you don't ever see that, right? Like in New Zealand, so things like that were just epic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually even blown away by the idea of naming it that.
I know, bull's blood. And the label had this big, like, beast on the front of it.
I remember that one.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, and I think that for me, it wasn't like this, epic, like, hundreds of pounds. No. Like, it was just this wine that I was like, man, this is like, there is a whole thing out there that I am like, infinitesimal in my knowledge. And I love that about wine. I don't think you'll ever like, you can never finish learning about it.
No, I think that's the beauty of it, right? Yeah. And I think it's an interesting, I think learning it in that capacity, in that style too. Have you done any like WSET or any of that sort of stuff?
I did Wet Set 2 in the UK, and then I was going to do 3 back here, and I just haven't. I feel I probably should.
I mean, I haven't done any.
No, I was going to say,
I don't know.
I sort of have this, I sort of feel like sometimes the way to stay in love with it in a really genuine sense, and just a really, like almost layman sense, sort of not doing too much of that learning, and but being engaged and interested enough where when a som does point you in the right direction, or I remember having that, I might have mentioned this before, but when I was at Movida, sort of when it was at the height of its sort of, fanfare in Melbourne, and ordering their signature dish, which was like a beef tartare with a sort of truffle potato puree and a poached egg.
Yum.
Yeah, really delicious. And the waiter was just like, well, if you're going to have that, you need to have a Fino sherry. And I was sort of like, oh, you're the waiter, hit me with it. And having that, he's like, right, so I want you to take a mouthful, and then I want you to, so think about the flavours, and then I want you to have a sip of that sherry and then have another mouthful.
Oh, so much in.
I did. I mean, it was very enjoyable, but it was the most incredible, like that was like, what just happened? It's sort of that eureka moment. And I think sort of, I don't want to study sherry too much to break that moment down.
Yeah.
Am I explaining that right?
No, absolutely.
No,
sort
exactly
of the dreamy, wonderful eureka moment of discovery without sort of ripping it to pieces and analysing it.
Yeah. And if anyone introduces me as the winemaker, I correct them. I make no pretense about being a winemaker, and so I wouldn't do that because I really love and respect what Todd does. So it's really important to me that everybody knows that he is vital to Neudorf, but also that I'm very unapologetic about not being the winemaker.
Yeah,
totally. If you've got me, you'll get a fun roundabout thing. I don't really know. Yeah. And I'm also very confident being great question. Let me just text Todd. I will be right back.
Actually, you're talking yourself down because you do know your stuff. When we taste with you, you've got it all right there.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. That's very kind.
But I also think there is a place for that kind of learning. I mean, it's sort of what this is about, this chat. It's sort of trying to, just invite people to come along for the journey with people from the industry who enjoy it, not for the analytical kind of breakdown.
Make wine fun again.
Make wine fun again. Let's put that on a hat.
Let's put that on a red cap.
Well, the big thing for me about wine is that, I think we've talked about this before, my job would be a lot easier if I could sell wine as a health tonic.
But 100%.
It's purely an enjoyment thing,
that's
right?
That's right.
That's its only purpose.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, we tried the whole good for the heart thing. Wasn't really.
No one really bought it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And so, you have to, it's not there to be, quizzed and questioned. And when people are what should I be tasting? I'm you should be figuring out if you like it.
Yeah. No, that's right.
If you like it, that's awesome. Have another glass. Buy a bottle.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And if you don't like it, try something else.
Yeah, that's right.
It's there. It's an enjoyment factor, and we're lucky. I am grateful every day that we get to work with a product that it's there purely to deliver a good, good vibes.
Yeah, and we talk about a lot. It's about time and place a lot more than 100%. It is what do you taste? It's when are you going to have this? What are you going to eat it with? That's what you should be thinking about.
I had this. Do we have time to go down? Will you rabbit?
Please.
Rabbit hole? Okay.
Absolutely.
I had this. I was doing my first ever wine dinner, and it was in a 2 Michelin star restaurant in Copenhagen, and which was just
that is
way
daunting.
to come in hot, right? Multi Michelin star. I was just there, oh my god. And the dish they served with, it was Tom Swap Pinot Noir, maybe 16 or 15, and it was this beautiful Michelin, everything was plated with tweezers kind of dish, right? And the only thing I could think of was the best time I've drunk Tom's Block Pinot Noir, which is I am a scuba diver, and there's a cave dive you can do about 20 minutes from Neudorf, which goes under the Rewaka Resurgence into the Tāmaki Hill.
Wow.
And it's 6 degrees and pitch black. It is not.
Oh, yeah, no thanks.
It's not a good
time. That's a hard no.
But there's a huge adrenaline. I scuba dive for
no shit.
Pie. I love it, and I going for food and a pretty dive. I love.
Yeah.
But this is the only thing you're getting out of it is adrenaline, right? And the nice thing about it is you can do it after work because it's pitch black no matter when you do it.
Right.
So you don't have to take the day off to go
Right.
So my dive instructor and I've done it probably half a dozen times, and it's not. It never changes because it hasn't changed in millions of years.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
But I'd done this dive, and to say thanks for the tanks, I gave the guy I was diving with a bottle of Tom's. And the other guy that was diving with us was Hunter, and to say thanks for the tanks, he gave a piece of venison backstrap that shot.
Oh, no way.
And because we're Kiwis, we had a just a gas in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
And so
I
we were
love
like,
this.
Fuck, this looks good.
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, good.
Swear away.
Okay, excellent. Because that's good. And then so we just got some like gas under this like piece of metal, and we cut up the venison with a dive knife, and we drank Tom's Block out of the like fake like little plastic cups that somebody had in the back of their car.
Dream scenario.
Best wine food match I've ever had.
Yeah,
helped I was
Dreaming.
hypothermic. Like,
and probably starving.
And starving. But like we'd just finished the dive. It was dark outside. We were sitting around this tiny little bit of fire, like literally with 6-degree water coming off us, and nothing's ever tasted so good.
That should be on the back label.
Right?
I love that.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing. And so then I was standing there in this Michelin restaurant in Copenhagen, like also having venison and Tom's Block, but in like worlds away, right? Like it couldn't have been a more different experience.
Yeah.
But and equally beautiful food matches.
Yeah.
But the memory of like this, like we didn't even have salt and pepper.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
we
that's
just
right.
like burnt it so it was a bit charry to get a bit of smoke.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Those are the things for me that are just like, those are the best things.
I such a great story, and kind of just exactly how, I mean, that is actually right there is what wine's made for.
Right.
The most simple. When you were telling that story, I was thinking about one of the things that Nick Mills said in our last chat, which actually I've never considered coming from a winemaking family at all, but is the fact that it's sort of, you know, it's one product that can be made under one ego. So like, you know, that same person that sort of, you know, nourishes the soil, plants the vine, grows the grapes, crushes the grapes, you know, puts the grapes in the barrel, bottles the juice that comes out of the barrel, and then pours you the wine, can be that one person. Mm-hmm. And in that instance, in that particular story, you know, 3 people have had a completely pared back, stripped back experience with nature. It's just this ridiculous place that is untouched and completely as nature, you know, created it, to come out and have this sort of wild hunted piece of meat with no crap on it, with absolutely no, not even seasoning, to then have, you know, literally the only thing that was even slightly human about the sort of the creation of that experience is the vessel, like someone's had to make the bottle. But other than that, what an incredible, like that, I just love, that's one of my favourite wine stories ever.
Oh, that's awesome. It was pretty, and like
worth
it's
the deep
very
dive.
like seared. For sure.
Yeah.
And
I mean, isn't that what you would hope if I was a winemaker? That would be, hearing that story would be my all I would hope that anyone gets out of the wine I would make. Like that, if I heard someone who I didn't know tell me that story, oh my God, we drank your wine doing this, I'd just be like, oh, job done.
Yeah. I think that's the, you know, like, that's what wine's about, right? And you talk about these beautiful wines that we're like, the 4 of us are lucky enough to taste in the jobs we work in, but sometimes it's just like the people you're with and the experience that you're having, and that like makes or breaks
100%,
you know, what you're drinking. It doesn't.
And I think that's what sort of disappoints me a bit about how we present wine, because there's all the punters out there who don't work in the wine industry or the hospitality industry and don't have the opportunity to taste the wine in the way that we do. Yeah. I'm like, oh God, you know, it's so great and it can be so simple. It's being made to be so hard for some of these guys. Yeah. To get exposure to this cool stuff. And it is cool stuff. These people, like, again, you know, you're saying it, Nick said it, every winemaker, Helen said it, Matt said it, you know, that it's sort of, you know, it's people and your mates and how you, that situation in which you experience the wine actually is pretty much the defining pleasure of it. You know, it's... Absolutely. It's just sort of, you know, we need to sort of, you know, I don't know, how do we do better at getting wine in front of more of the punters who, you know, would just pick that shit up and go...
I think it's a confidence thing. And I've seen it in friends who, like, you know, we're lucky that we are exposed to wines that when we go to the supermarket to pick up a bottle, even if it's just, you know, a Tuesday night and you want something to have at home and you're getting something cold on your way home, you have the ability to go, oh yeah, I'll like that because of the region and the vintage and whatever. Yeah. We forget that that's like just ingrained, you know, and it's like... thank goodness people are trained in their, areas. Like, I don't want to be walking in and doing cardiovascular surgery, like untrained. Right. But there's a thing, that's like, to me, people they say to me like, I stand there and I just don't know what to pick.
Yeah.
And you want to give them something that they can like grasp, or they know that they like, and I think that's what Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc has done for the New Zealand wine industry internationally, is that people know they like Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, so they might try something else from New Zealand. And like, that's the first steps. And now New Zealand's got a wonderful reputation overseas, but that it takes people to like branch out of their comfort zones to try those things.
I also think that some of the fact that we've touched on this before too, the fixation of varietal on the front label, like the likes of your Hungarian bull's blood.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no room for writing all that shit in the front label, and no one wants to know anyway.
But doesn't that tell you what it is? Like, I just said Hungarian bull's blood, like, you know what you're dealing with, right? It's not going to be.
See, I think when I think about some of my girlfriends who are not in the industry, they probably would not drink that. They'd be like, it's what now?
Yeah.
Actually,
I'm vegan.
Yeah, no, that's right. Exactly. But I think it is that sort of, I don't know, just, it just sort of breaks my heart that we don't sort of.
My only thing that I think this is one of those moments I'm really proud of this. So having worked on the floor in the likes of Vinateca and just in hospo in general, and being asked these things and then turning to read a back label and going, oh, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So I came back from London, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, right.
It's in French.
Also really tricky.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, I want to redo the back label. So we now have 3 so we do a little so the back label of the amphora we're drinking, the tech information is Musiri clay gravels, single vineyard, low cropping, hand harvested, wild ferment, natural spring malo, 100% amphora fermented, unfined, vegan, lightweight glass bottle. Solar powered winery, if you will.
Ooh,
thank you.
Love that. Absolutely.
And that tells people, like, if they want to know that stuff, it's there, because people who care about that stuff want to know.
Yeah.
That, right.
Yeah.
But then you're only allowed 3 descriptions. That's our back label now. So the back label for this one, I'll be interested to hear what you guys think, is synergistic, ethereal, and graceful.
I saw those before. Yeah. I mean,
it's the only information we're giving you on flavour.
I love that, and because first of all, you're giving some words that people understand graceful. You know what I mean? They understand, they can sort of place that and then put their own language to actual taste. You know what I mean? But putting it in a bigger picture for them, I think, is really helpful.
I think it's so much like, that's my little way of like helping people get it,
I definitely think there's the back label. Well, labels are an interesting thing, right? Especially coming from your background, the design eye and everything like that. Labels, you have no chance of anyone getting in the bottle if they don't like what's on the outside of the bottle, right? So how do you, and the language is part of it.
Yeah.
I think that's where the wank comes in, is that so it's like, oh my God, I don't even know what they're talking about. But a couple of simple words that highlight the structure of what that wine tastes like, because that's definitely bang on for what that wine tastes like.
And it's a really fun challenge. So Todd, Jude, Ruben and myself sit around and taste, and like you come up as a full tasting note, and then you're like, right, 3 words. And it's got to kind of nail the brief, I suppose.
Yeah. It's a good challenge for you guys. Yeah. I know, it's interesting. So from a point of view of selling Neudorf wines, do you sell a lot in New Zealand, or do you rely heavily on export, you guys?
No, we're about 50% in New Zealand.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, we're quite little. I think we're about 8,000 cases in total.
Shit balls. I did not realise that you guys were that small.
Yeah.
Fuck I
think we've been doing it a while.
People get your hands on some Neudorf. There's sweet fuck all of it.
I think people think, we've been around, so the name is quite familiar.
Yeah.
And how big are vineyards?
20 hectares.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's 8,000 including some grower fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of the single vineyard blocks are just off Rosie's, Tom's and Home. Those are all the Neudorf, they're state-owned, and they're all organic. And that's 20 hectares, and then there's grower fruit as well. But yeah, I think people...
6 mortgages and 8,000 cases. Fuck, that's a... That's not my strong point, but that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, and that fluctuates, obviously. But we'd probably, I guess up to 10,000 cases. I think we'd consider a big vintage about 180 tonne.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I think that's a big thing. So when I say 50% of that's sold in New Zealand, that's, it kind of makes sense when you look at it like that.
For sure. And is that sort of predominantly through cellar door, or is that through distributor and restaurant listings?
Awesome support in New Zealand. And I think that's part of being, around for so long. So it's a lot comes, I think Auckland's would be our biggest individual market globally, probably. And that's we're in about sort of 16 to 20 probably. We're 16 international markets as well.
Yeah, see, that's crazy.
So it gets spread pretty thin on a small vintage.
Yeah.
And we have years, 21 was small, and I was to market, you can have 2 cases of home block Chardonnay if you'd like it.
Wow. And does that afford you the opportunity to sort of put it at a price point that reflects that scarcity, or do you actually still have to retain a really competitive price point against other New Zealand wines? Because as a small industry battling Italy and France and Spain and Aussie and every other market, every other wine producer, producing region, that's tricky. How do you manage that?
Yeah, I think I don't think the method of Bordeaux's method of price fluctuation dependent on vintage size would work in New Zealand.
No.
But I think, we've never really given that a go. Wines like home block Chardonnay, they've been in market for a really long time. They've sort of got their own
they have a
stature.
Following for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
And it's wines like this that are really interesting to talk about now, because when we redesigned the portfolio, so Todd and I did quite a big portfolio shake-up in 19, and there was this big plan to travel and tell everybody this is the new Neudorf portfolio. We introduced the Tiri Tiri collection, which I know you guys have tasted, and then we split off. So Rosie's block became single vineyard, and that was really important to us because the wine itself had kind of been chasing the heels of home block, and we were maybe she can stand on her own. So now the Chardonnay portfolio is 4 Chardonnays, which for a small winery it's really the keystone varietal, but also the way that we didn't want to just be hanging on one wine. So home block Chardonnay is always there, but it's so nice to have 4 Chardonnays that all tell a different story.
Yeah,
definitely sing from the same songbook.
Yeah,
but don't so they work really well together. And I think Tiri Tiri Chardonnay has the ability to be on wine lists, and people will see it and taste it, and hopefully they'll like it. Yeah. And then that grows to being seeing Rosie's somewhere or Amphora and being I really liked that other one. Yeah. So I think you're kind of growing your market of Chardonnay drinkers and I think it's important, Todd and I have always said, that Tiri Tiri Chardonnay in particular has to taste like it's a Neudorf Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Because my colloquial way of saying it, it's the gateway drug, right?
Yeah.
So you taste Tiri Tiri Chardonnay somewhere, and you go, I really liked that Neudorf wine.
Yeah.
And then next time you fork out a little bit more and you buy the Rosies or the Amphora, and that's also really important. And so those wines, because there is a whole new generation of drinkers, and while home block has a following, I want to be there's new people, and I want to get in front of them, and I want to talk about Chardonnay.
I mean, it stands to reason that that's part of, because I think the whole industry is having to consider, much like, we were talking before we were recording, the kind of the succession, and, we are still we're only just starting to see second generation in New Zealand as it is. And I think, so we've got that, and on the one hand, and on the other hand, we've actually got a whole new generation of consumers who have actually got a slightly different take on drinking wine, full stop. So I do think you do have to approach it with, how do you stay authentic to your own vineyards and your own style of, production? What are the characteristics that you love that you get from those vineyards? And then how do you present them in a way that, you can talk to some of that next gen who perhaps are just experimenting with all sorts of other beverages at the same time, but also passionate about they're invested, they're engaged,
and I think it's a trust basis, and I appreciate, so this retails at $50 and then home block's $90, and so I appreciate you're asking somebody to spend $50 on a bottle of wine, there's got to be a trust involved in that, and part of that is I know that we wouldn't bottle something that we weren't like totally on board with, which is amazing that I get to work for somebody, you know, with that headspace.
Yeah.
But the other part of that is that's why Tiri Tiri is such an integral part of the portfolio.
Yeah.
And that it's got like really similar oak treatment, and like, I'm not going to get techie because I don't want to get fined.
Yeah.
But like, you know, there's people know that if they've liked that, they're not going to then fork out and buy Rosie's or Home and be like, what?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
You know, they're really different, but they really, like, you know, it's all...
It's almost the other way around to the gateway drug, where wine drinkers will know you for the home block Chardonnay, but they're out down at the local pub and Tiri Tiri's pouring, and it's like, oh, I know that's going to be a great glass of Chardonnay.
100%. Yeah, and that's really important to me. And I've had that, like, people, you know, who are... I had an email the other week from somebody who is a avid home block Chardonnay purchaser, and he was somewhere in the back blocks of Queensland and saw Tiri Tiri on the bottle. He's like, like, you know, we'll have that, because like, and that's awesome. It goes both ways, like you say. Yeah.
Going from here then, so the folks are sort of in retirement, and so Todd's going to general manage his way through this gig, and so what's your official title? Gopher. I do everything.
Yeah.
I go for that. I go for this.
My official title, so I actually became a director in 2020, which was really cool and quite like more, I guess, sort of ceremonial than anything else, but like formally became a director, so with Tim and Jude, which I really like sort of solidified my position, I think, which I like. But so I'm sales and marketing director. That's what's on my email signature.
Yeah.
Sales and marketing director.
Yeah. The job title's sort of by the by, isn't it, really? You're just sort of this is your the family member running the joint sort of pretty much at the moment. Yeah.
And it's funny, I get like, not defensive, but someone the other day was like, oh, it's so cute that you work for your mum and dad. Oh, God. And I was like, and I appreciate that there are elements to my job that I'm good at because I grew up on the farm. But I was really like, oh, sort of. like, yeah. And I didn't want to...
The voice goes up.
I do. Like, in a court of law, I can see where you're coming from. But I really, I'm really happy in my position. And I know that I'm like, you know, I felt like she was sort of trying to like diminish the role.
Yeah, like you weren't qualified for it. Or something.
And I like, don't get me wrong, like I see the Nepo baby title, like, you know, just flashing in the background. But I love that I get to do what I do, and I don't really mind what the title is.
No, suppose. That's right. And I think to qualify that too is it's, you know, I mean, there are definitely family stories where people working in a family business don't cut the mustard, but they've got the job because they're family. Yeah. But that's not the case. I mean, your parents are really sensible, smart people.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things when they think that's why the director thing meant a bit.
Yeah.
Because
100%. That's a vote of confidence from your parents.
100%. Like they could be doing like, you know, we'll let Rosie look after a couple of markets, you know, keeps her out of trouble. But like actually like having like an actual vote on a board, kind of, you know, to sway the way a company would run.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't do that just because like they couldn't think of what to get me for Christmas.
Yeah. Totally.
But also it's not, from what I think you've said before, they didn't pressure you into doing this.
Spot on.
You know, so it's not just like you are going to have this.
No,
regardless
absolutely.
of whether you want it or not.
And also, when I moved back, actually, this is key to that moved back to New Zealand story. I said to Jude, well, look, I need a summer job and I owe you some money. Like, why don't I work for Neudorf? She said, yeah, good idea. Send me your CV.
That's so good.
I kid you not.
I want to be your mum.
I know. Kid you. She was like, yes, yeah, great. Send me your CV. I was like...
That's so great.
And so because I was like, this was also whilst I was going through this period of like mourning back to, you know, like I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe you do that to me. So being the daughter of Jude that I am, I would send her my CV, but I said, applying for a job, could you proofread? And I sent it to her, and then she came back. She's like, "Nah, looks good. Couple of edits." Made the edits, wrote a cover letter, and sent it back to her, and said, "To whom it may concern."
I love that. You should frame those.
Oh yeah, and I was like, so part of me, and actually at the time, I was just like, "Who? What?" And now I'm actually like, banging response. To me,
100%.
And she always says to me, like every time something happens in like, my career, she's like, "Have you put that on your CV?" And she's really been like that for all my life. And even now, like when I was on the, Wine Growers Marketing or whatever, she's like, "Have you put that on your CV?" Like she's really about me building up that. And I like full credit. And at the time, being 21 or 25 or whatever it was, I was just like, "Oh my God, there's so much drama." And I'm like, actually, you know what? Epic call. Yeah. Epic call from mum.
I also think the other thing that, that mate of yours who's sort of, the person you're having the conversation with about getting, getting the job through, nepotism. I mean, you mentioned the word pressure, Pete. I mean, there was no pressure put on you to do the job, but also there's a lot of pressure on you to maintain. That's a family business that you're running now. And so, I think that needs to be part of that consideration is, well, yeah, okay, I got the job because my surname and where I grew up and these are my parents. But that's up to me now to make sure I don't fuck this up.
Yeah, and that's been like mortifying.
Yeah, I bet.
Because Jude's like quite she's been part of the industry for forever, and she's a powerhouse, and she knows and so stepping into her shoes, the amount of people are like, "Oh, big boots," Judy Finn, big boots, helpful, and you're like, "Oh, great,
yeah, thanks for that."
I haven't spent my life watching her be like the epic woman in wine that she is, but she's been like awesome. And talking about succession, it's literally their other baby, right? Like they planted it from the ground up, and I was so scared when she said she was going to resign because it just was the biggest responsibility. Yeah. And people were telling me how much of a responsibility it was, like I didn't know. And there's a real element of that. But the amazing thing is, so they still live in our family home and it's still on site. And so whilst she's given me free reign, which credit where credit's due, must have been really hard to like hand that over. She has done that epic job of that. But also when I'm like really unsure about something, I can be like, "Hey,
yeah, that's right.
You got 5?
What a great, that's amazing.
That's awesome." So we've had the best handover because it wasn't like I was given a folder and said,
figure it out.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Like she's, they're there.
But also the fact that she has stepped away and left you to it, because that takes, I think that's massive.
Credit. I don't think I could do as good a job. And I think that may have come with time. Like now, even when I went on mat leave, I was like checking my emails daily. Not because I didn't have faith in people, but just because I was so involved when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And obviously prior to. And whereas I think Jude had probably had 40 years, she was good. Yeah. She was ready to enjoy the Chardonnay.
Yeah.
And and she loves that she is involved in I can go and question her way, but she always talks about the best part of retirement is the lack of responsibility.
Yeah.
So if there's suddenly this many thousand cases and it's got to be moved, she's like, good luck, bunch.
She can look the other way.
Whereas 10 years ago it was so Jude, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And now she calls it retired without responsibility.
Yeah.
And she loves, she's often in the Salador over summer, and it's such a part of who they are. But
yeah, so there's the things that they enjoy and that they want to do, they still kind of can. Yeah. I love that for them, because it's sort of first of all, massive guts to hand it over like that. But also it was like what we were talking about earlier before we sort of sat down properly. It's a time in people's lives, as I'm watching my parents' age, you sort of watch them and you think, God, you should be everything should be good times now.
Yeah.
Like you've worked, you've grafted, this is full bore. And now that you can step back and just let some of us do it for you, just do that.
Yeah.
Because we can do it for you, and you guys should just be, going for long lunches and sleeping in and wandering, up the back paddock when you feel like it.
Totally. But whilst we do it for you, could you mind my child? I think is the really... I'll do it, But can you look up for my baby?
That's too much. Classic. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like you go and relax.
That's too much.
But if you could take him down to see the sheep, that would be great.
I've got to worry about what we're doing with those cases.
I'll deal with England.
Yeah.
You deal with the sheep.
Oh God, that's hilarious.
That's very much where we're at the moment.
Yeah.
And they, that's very cool for them. Freddie goes to Country Kids 2 minutes down the road from Neudorf. And like he gets picked up by Jude, brings him, has afternoon tea at Juju's.
Nice. Oh, cute.
And like
cute.
with Juju and Tim, and they go and see sheep and watch tractors and like
have the best time ever.
Have the best time ever because like a working farm is an epic place for an 18-month-old boy.
Yeah, 100%.
So his first word was tractor, and I think everyone's heart fluttered a little bit. It's like,
oh my God, it's in the blood.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's So it's an awesome balance. Yeah.
So speaking of balance, do you get much time away? Like I've often admired the Instagram shots of you on the back of a boat with a huge haul, lots of fishing and diving. Do you get much chance to do that stuff these days, or is it pretty...
I think the argument there is that you'd never get enough.
Yeah.
But my partner is an incredible fisherman and a very he always makes time for that, and I really respect that. So because he also works for his family business, and so he's really good at being like, no, the weather's good, we're going out, and we gave Freddie a fishing rod, and he has learned how to cast in the living room. So he sits there and he's just like, whoosh.
At 18 months.
Yeah, loves
Jesus.
it. I know we're very much someone's going to lose an eye, but I
was thinking more he's going to take over your business. That keeps going places.
But so I think Toby's amazing at making sure that we get time to go and do that stuff. But the fishing is a very important aspect of our lives.
Yeah.
And
that outlet, hey?
Yeah, totally. And there's reasons to live everywhere, and being on the water is a reason to live in Nelson. So whether it's diving or fishing or just lying on a beach, Nelson's got epic sunshine, epic fishing, like it's a good place to do it. One should probably dive more in the ocean than the caves.
Yes.
For like a more, warm experience. But
you wouldn't have had that great story.
But I wouldn't have had the story. Yeah. Very true, very true.
But also it is kind of, I like that, I mean, that just brings chills to my, like I can't even handle the idea of being in a cave in the dark, underwater, like everything about that.
I hate even like snorkeling.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah.
Snorkeling's Pete.
I can't bear caves on land.
Right, that's interesting.
Which is weird. I cannot, there's something maybe about the control or like my headspace when I'm diving is like I'm in a very specific place. Like I know I can turn my tanks on and set my dive gear up without looking. It's just something I'm really confident in. And I've been diving since I was 12. I did my ticket when I was 12 and then did my dive masters when I was 20. Right. So I dove a lot over my teenage years.
Did your oldies do that, or was that with mates?
Yeah, I got into it with Dad. Uh-huh. So we used to do quite a bit of diving together.
Wicked.
And then I just sort of was I was originally going to do an OE up in the islands doing diving, and I just ended up, I got into university and I was like, I should probably do that. So now I just dive as a hobby, but diving and fishing, and for some reason I'm more confident in the cave, but you cannot drag me into a cave on land for love nor money.
That's interesting.
Toby and Jude can't bear the fact that I did the cave. I haven't done it for ages, but Jude in particular, text when you're going in, text when you're getting out. The cave doesn't have reception, so so we're sitting around having wine and venison, and then it's 2 hours later, and I was like, oh look, I'm really sorry. But the fishing thing is I was an eager, although not particularly successful fisherman before I met Tobe, and he definitely there's a skill involved, and so that's. I think we also make wine that goes really well with seafood.
I was just going to ask, what are you what are you pulling up, or what are you diving for?
My record fish is a 29-pound snapper.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was like Tobe had tears in his eyes. I think he was so proud. I got it with him on the boat, and I felt this massive hook, and I was like, oh my God, and I thought, oh, it's a shark. And Tobe like made sure the hook was set, and then he made me wind it in. He was like, nah, it's definitely a snapper. Like he can tell what it is by the way the rod or whatever. Very impressive. And this was a whole new concept to me. And then when we got it, I was just like, that's how that feels. Like, you know, that was pretty epic. And we got to catch and release that guy, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Because at that big, they're not that, you know, they don't eat well.
Yeah.
And like, what are we going to do with 29 pounds of snapper?
Yeah.
So yeah, we released him back into the sounds, which was pretty cool.
And so you get a snapper. What's your go-to? Do you cook or does Toby cook?
Well, we both really enjoy cooking. Tobe is very good at cooking. Like he's got barbecue down, and he's really good at sashimi. Like I remember when we were like early dating, he turned up with like kingfish sashimi that he'd caught that morning, and I was like, hot damn.
You're like married me now.
Yeah, that's right. You're a keeper.
Yeah,
you're a keeper.
Very impressive.
Yeah,
so, but yeah, it depends what we've caught. We're like quite big. Like I'm really happy just to go down to an estuary and get cockles and just steam them open with chili and garlic. Like, you know, like basic.
Yeah.
I really like basics. To me, seafood doesn't need a lot of, like, you know, I want an oyster just like as that.
Yeah.
Like you know, that's awesome. Don't bugger up a good thing.
What are you pairing with the cockles if it's not your wine?
Or if it's, I mean...
If it is your wine.
Okay, if it is your wine...
You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
You're going to say Albarino.
I was going to say Albarino, naturally. But you know what? It could kind of be, like, Albarino for sure, like seafood match. Just, you know, like... But Albarino in general. Albarino and seafood has kind of changed my world with, like, you know, the amount of seafood that we get to eat. But... like, or you know, this was with this chili ceviche last week, like awesome, like, and that was tuna ceviche, so it was quite like, you know, it was chunky, I suppose. So yeah, mineral, vibrant Chardonnays and Albarino all the way. Chili, garlic, seafood. I'm there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Would you? Are you? I mean, you know, you're living in paradise, but is there anywhere else that you'd, and obviously you're attached to the family business, which is very rooted.
Yeah, literally.
But would you, because did you get much travel through Europe when you were living in London, or were you really London centric?
I was really, and I think there's two ways to live in London, right? Like, and it's some people go over there and they get like an office job and they are out every weekend. They are on the continent. It's such an English way of putting it.
Isn't it?
They go to the continent.
That's right. Yeah.
Whereas I loved like my London life. Yeah. So I didn't really like escape as such. And I had great friends. I had this awesome job. Like I was quite happy to be in the UK or in London in particular. I get to travel for my job, which is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I love...
What's your favourite country? Like of those markets that you go to selling, what one floats your boat the most? You know, what one sort of provides you with that
it's a tricky one. Like...
Well, do you have wanderlust, or is it a sales trip and you actually just love being home back?
No, it's definitely... I have wanderlust, but like I... love that I get to, my two best mates live in London.
Yeah.
Right? So like I get to go, I'm great for Neudorf. Like I'm staying on their couches when I go. I'm a good sales rep. I'm cost effective. And I want that because you can't work at night in wine because the somms are actually doing their job at that time.
Yeah.
So like I get to, you know, work during the day and then go and have dinner with my girlfriends and like it's the perfect balance, you know. And so London is like but that's a special place in my heart, and I'm not sure that I'd live there again, but like I love going there. And also I'm a, like, you know, oysters and bubbles gal. Like I'm down for going down to a gastronomic center of the universe and going to restaurants for
totally.
Yeah, that's great. And also, like, you know, I get fixes of that vibe coming up to Auckland for the week.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
You know. But
yeah, it's a lovely balance, that, isn't it? That's the other thing about, I think, with the wine industry is when you do work in it, you have this sort of, it's a real privilege because you have this connection to the outdoors and to nature and sort of an outdoor environment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, its point of sharing is generally in a really great restaurant or you know, wine bar or in that kind of very social environment, which I think means you really do get the best of both worlds.
Absolutely. My friend and I we went through Vietnam together in 19, and then we've just about to send our first shipment to a new agent in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
I have a huge love affair with Vietnam. I could eat Vietnamese food all day, every day. So I'm quite excited to really make sure that market needs all of the support that it needs.
It's an amazing country.
Yeah, it's an incredible country. The people are amazing. My girlfriends and I at home, we would love going to a city for the weekend and things. But I think it's one of when I lived in London, I really missed. Nelson's got 3 national parks. We've got a batch in the Able Tasman. Life's it's a really that's what it is. And so when I was living overseas, I really missed that. But when I'm in New Zealand, probably the thing I miss is that nightlife thing.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Not so much for one place. The energy and the buzz and my friends picked me up last night when I landed and we went out for it was just a bowl of noodles, but just buzziness, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and I'm, I get that. My cup's filled by my job by doing that.
Yeah,
It wasn't that long ago I was up and, we were having a wine at Onslow. And
so,
that's
right.
I'm lucky.
Totally.
I know that. Yeah.
Well, Rosie, I think that's probably a perfect sort of note to finish on. The fact that shall we raise a glass of this? It's delicious. We've been quietly drinking away.
I know.
Yeah, it really is.
I do have to work for the rest of the day, but I could quite happily just park up somewhere. It's absolutely delicious, and so that's released in about 6 weeks' time.
Yeah, October 1.
October 1,
coming at you.
Yeah, wow, geez, it's a lovely, lovely wine. And
also get amongst that Albarino that you've just released.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is so delicious, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe from By the Bottle, which
I believe it's available through By the Bottle.
It is.
Is that bythebottle.co.nz?
It is indeed. Or come and see us on Mount Eden Road.
Yeah, there we go. Magic. Hey, Rosie, thanks so much for making the time.
Thank you.
It's such a privilege to actually sit around the table and finally catch up.
I know.
Sort of properly just chilled and relaxed and without it being sort of surpassing in the, like at a trade tasting or something. So
indeed.
Really
we're constantly talking about having a wine. So the fact that we've managed to do that at 9 o'clock in the morning, I think it's really...
Exactly. No better time. Thanks so much for listening to this Not Serious Wine Chat. We hope you enjoyed it. Not Serious Wine Chats is brought to you by Tradecraft with the support of the 3 amigos behind By the Bottle and those good people at Antipodes Water Company. Thanks everyone for tuning in and for your ongoing support.